You're listening to the Warlord Radio Podcast.
We are Warlord Radio Podcast. Thank you for listening. I am Carrick Coleman. With me, as always, is the actual host, Craig Meinhardt. Very fancy.
Yes.
And our producer, Jay, who is just kind of an audio wizard. Today, though, we have a very special guest.
Yes.
I feel like every episode we have a very special guest, but today this one's legit.
Yes.
That makes me feel special.
It does.
We have a very good friend, Mr. Matt Adkins, here
Mr.
with
Matt
us.
Adkins.
Now, Matt is a huge figure in the
Dallas
DFW scene.
DFW in general.
I'm only 5'5", it's I wouldn't call it.
Right.
No, it's not that your stature, it's that your presence.
Right.
Like it almost heralds you. Like you cast a wide shadow, and then you walk up, and it doesn't matter what your stature is because you're still just fucking larger than life, and we love that about you.
So Matt runs one of the premier venues that plays rock punk metal in the Metroplex, and he's in a band. He's been in several bands around the scene, and he's very active in like a lot of the shows around. And I mean, were you at Guar just the other night?
I was not.
Ah, well.
But
yeah,
you were,
I saw Guar without Brocky once.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to see.
Yeah, that was kind of my feeling. I'm glad I went, and, I give him cheers for keeping it going, but it is not the same without Odorous.
Brocky was just such a huge personality. It's not the same show.
It really was. When you remember the Housecore Metal Fest that came through a few years ago?
Yeah.
I worked for a website called Sofaking News. And because remember that festival came about only 4 or 5 months before he died.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I got to interview him, and they straight up told us, they were like, you might not get to interview Dave. He's not feeling well. And I was one of the ones that made it in. And I did. Dude, I geeked out so hard the night before, trying to come up with questions to ask fucking Odorous Arungus, god of my childhood, questions. And within 30 seconds, I lost complete control of that interview. He had completely taken it over. And we ended up talking about, the fact that the cuter the animal in nature, the harder it will rape you. All on him. He also told me that, not to waste my money on boner pills, because if I ever have a problem with my wiener, I should just stick a tick in my dick slit. These are his words, not mine. You can look the shit up. But yeah, stick a tick in my dick slit. And the world lost a gift with that man.
Absolutely.
I guess is my point.
R.I.P. Brocky.
R.I.P. Brocky.
So, Matt, give us the rundown on who you are for the people that don't know.
Please.
I'm the owner of Wits End, Deep Ellum.
I did not know you were the owner.
Yes.
I thought you were, okay, right on.
And I also do the booking there. Mm-hmm. And I'm in 2 bands right at the moment, Onward We March, and another band that I can't disclose too many details about it, but it's me and some of the guys from DMF.
Nice.
And David Cerezo from Color of Ohm.
Right on.
Which was one of my old bands.
Sure. So, and also give us some of the older bands that you've been in, besides Color of Ohm.
You've been around for
Color of Ohm, before that it was Weaken the Adversary.
Okay.
Deviant. Embrace the Embers.
I remember Embrace the Embers.
And
who was it? I knew somebody in that band. No, other than you.
There was David.
Oh, no. You know who it was? It was Brady.
Brady. Okay.
Brewer,
she was saying Brady. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. He was the bass player.
Okay. Yeah. You guys were killer.
Yeah. We, I think they wanted to go more of a metalcore direction, and I was, death metal vocals don't go well with that.
I caught you in the early days at an Andy show.
Yeah. We only actually played 2 shows, so.
Oh, right on.
I was in the band.
I caught you at the Andy show.
You saw half of his shows.
I was,
I saw 50% of Embrace the Embers shows. I'm a super fan.
Hardcore fan, yeah. No, we played 2 shows. It was Andy's and the Liquid Lounge in Deep Ellum. That was the only 2 shows we played. And Liquid Lounge was with you guys.
Yep.
Which is...
That's strange,
weird.
actually.
It is very strange.
It's a little weird. It's a very small world.
Yeah, but those are all the failed bands that I've been in.
Not failed. They were stepping stones to greatness.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm still very proud of the recordings, and it's just, people, when they write music together for a long time, they have different ideas of the direction it should go. And with Weaken the Adversary, we kind of tried to reform a few years ago, and it just did not feel the same. It was not the same vibe at all.
Have you, okay, so you've been in tons of bands at this point. Like, you've been around forever. Have you always been the vocalist? Have you ever done anything else?
In 762 and Week in the Adversary and Deviant, I did lead vocals and guitar.
Oh, right on.
But after you lug around a full stack of Marshalls for so many years, your back starts to say, you probably shouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So when Embrace the Embers was the first band that I actually said, you know what, let me just try to do vocals only. And all of them were like, no, dude, do 3 guitars. Let's do. I'm like, that's lame. Iron Maiden already has that on lockdown. Let's not do that. And mainly it was just my selfish reasons of not wanting to haul the gear around.
You know what? There are certain listeners out there that be like, that guy's kind of an ass. I'm like, no, that's a logistically genius.
Yeah.
Well,
strategy.
I tell you what, that always makes me jealous every time I see Diesel Beast play, because I just saw you guys play with the Infamous on their CD release show.
Yes, that was a
on
fun
Saturday, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But you guys play with small cabs.
Oh, not even cabs. They're like combo amps and shit.
Yeah.
You just mic the fuck out of them.
And, they weigh like 20 pounds. And meanwhile, we're the opposite. We are like way overkill.
Oh, yeah.
And we have
absolutely.
like 10,000 pounds of gear.
Most metal bands are.
Yeah, if you have wheels on your cab in Diesel Beast Depend, you've already failed. What we did is we got the most bang for our buck combo amp style. Because I play a Thunderbird.
Right, yeah.
And the only effect I use is like a big muff. And then I play it through this like tiny 50-watt Orange Crush.
Yeah, that's right.
But it
Cranks
honks
the shit out of.
Like you've been there,
Yeah,
like that thing honks. You
Yeah,
know
it
what
does.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so what we did is we did our homework and decided like, what is the smallest fucking thing I can get that will still sound big? And then we carry our purses in and set them down, and we're not even sweating. Like, we just kind of like, oh, that was a little difficult. And then meanwhile, we're watching you guys like fucking move furniture and shit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's overrated. It looks great on the stage. It looks fantastic on the stage. And at Wits, a lot of times, the bands that bring their full stacks and stuff, we won't even run the guitars through the mains.
You couldn't. You'd fucking break the front windows of that place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it looks fantastic, but unless you're playing a place like House of Blues or Ridgely Theater, you're not going to.
For all you youngins out there, man, like if you're playing the club scene, you really don't need the Marshall stack. Like, it's cool.
From an audio guy, I'm going to tell you right now, if your amps are louder than your drummer, you're too fucking loud.
Oh, that's a hot
Period.
take from Jay.
He's laying down the law.
Yeah.
No, but I totally 1,000% agree. Is one of the things that we learned a long time ago is to let the PA do the work. As opposed to guys that want to overpower the fuck out of the mics.
All you're going to get is feedback. You're going to feedback the whole show. And everybody's going to be pissed.
Or you're only going to hear
shitty.
one person, the guitar player, who won't turn his fucking amp down.
And if the sound guy's any damn good at all, he's already taken it into account what the mains and the subs and everything sound like within the room.
Right.
So he doesn't need your fucking opinion.
He knows the
when
space.
you come in here, I'm going to rock the place out and I'm going to turn it up to 11 because I know how my amp sounds. Well, no, it's going to sound like shit because you haven't played in the room before or once before. You're not there every single night dialing in metal bands, ska bands, punk bands, DJs, R&B bands. You're not.
And on top
let
of
the
that,
sound guy do his goddamn job.
Yeah, and on top of that, you're behind those speakers anyway.
Yeah, you're not going to hear any of it.
You're not going to hear what he's doing anyway.
You may think it sounds like shit, but that's your monitor, buddy. And that's because you wanted to check it super fucking loud.
Which, I mean, like, if you're like me and you have horrible tinnitus and you're half deaf in one ear because you've been playing metal since you were like 13 years old, then, like, you're kind of deaf. And you need some volume. But I need that shit on stage. Outside, I want it to sound great. You know what I mean?
So there's been a lot of turmoil in the clubs around DFW.
That's a fucking understatement, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So for the people that don't know, we got the Metroplex would include Fort Worth, Dallas, and Denton. And between all of them, we've had a fuckload of clubs either close down outright or change management and, change format or just go through horrendous staff changes. We've lost a number of places here in Denton. The Rail Club out in Fort Worth just went through a whole bunch of shit and I think closed down permanently.
Yes, permanently.
Yeah. Reno's is going through some weird shit right now, which is unfortunate. But Wits End seems to be going strong, which please reassure us that everything is going well.
Everything is as it usually is. It's going good. There's always a headache, but it's still fun.
Yeah.
And with all the turmoil. I'm banking on that turmoil, man. I'm
You
gonna
could really cash in on that turmoil if you work it
after the first of the
right.
year. We're gonna have a lot more metal shows starting in January.
Fuck yeah.
I'm just gonna, might as well capitalize on something.
Well, you already, like, even before this went down, you already seemed like you were doing really well, because every time we're there, like, you guys have a banging crowd, and there's people upstairs and there's people downstairs.
We definitely cater to all, not just metalheads or the uptown crew. We want to.
You kind of cater to anybody that's actually, like, in my opinion, you kind of cater to anybody that's sort of like almost anti-Deep Ellum scene. Like, they want to go into a place and, like, have a couple of drinks and see whatever the fuck. They don't necessarily need a club owner telling them what they want to see or whatever like that.
Right.
Like, you guys have.
If you don't like the sound in the main room,
You can
go upstairs. If you don't like the sound up there, go to the game room, and there's a
pinball machines, bro.
We got rid of the pinballs.
Sorry, that was a little too emotional. I just really love pinball.
So for people that don't know, the layout of Wits End is that there's a stage downstairs, very nice sound, professional lights, the whole 9 yards. They play all kinds of different music there, everything from punk, metal, ska, rock, DJ, everything.
We play a lot of crap.
Yeah, and then there's also a full bar and an area to play bands as well upstairs. So you can do either or. You can walk in, you can hang out downstairs, or you can go upstairs, and it's a completely different scene. And it's really nice and varied, because there'll be times where you'll have like a hardcore show downstairs, and upstairs you got a bunch of people partying, to like a DJ or something like that.
I remember one night we played downstairs and there was reggae going on upstairs. And what's funny about me is I actually really like reggae. So after I played the fucking metal show, I went upstairs and watched the reggae show. And I was like, this is kind of nice.
I remember that night. That was a very unusual group of people clashing together, but there was like no one on a reggae show gets in a fight.
Right.
They're also stoned. They're just the happiest guys on the face
And
of the planet.
honestly,
And metalheads in general are pretty happy when they're drinking
unless
beer.
you give them a reason to start swinging, a metalhead's not going to swing on you. He just wants to drink beer.
Yeah. You don't say Lemmy sucks, and we won't say that Bob Marley sucks, and everybody gets along.
Oh man, but if Lemmy and Bob Marley started a band, the heavens would open.
Oh, absolutely.
So Wits End is basically going to be the focal point of the rock metal scene down in Deep Ellum. Not that it's already not,
I'll
but
take it.
just even
No,
more
but
so.
I feel that way too, because I mean, like you said, a lot of the traditional venues we used to play are like either going through something weird, or everybody's really into the singer-songwriter shit. Everybody's really into the electronic shit, and I get it from a club owner's standpoint. You only have to pay one guy to do like an entire show, and I get that. That's fun.
That.
Yeah, but I mean, I missed the show. You know what I mean? Like, you get a DJ Spacebar up there fucking.
Oh, you know about DJ Spacebar.
Yeah. Oh, I've met DJ Spacebar several times. But I mean, I don't know. The cool thing about what your club does is, like, first off, it's not so myopic that it only does one thing. Like, you cater to a wide audience. And like you said, there's several different sections you can go to if you're not feeling the other section.
Yeah, the whole thing is to be welcoming to everybody.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel welcome there, then you know what? You're probably just one of those guys that doesn't feel awkward.
Yeah.
That feels awkward anywhere he's going to go.
Yeah.
So stay home and
Be a douche. Go over to the green room.
hey,
Hot take on the green room.
the fellas at Green Room are fantastic. They have great food.
I'm sure the staff is great. I just
You
met
own
the
a bar in
clientele.
Deep
They have
Ellum. Yeah,
they have
that
a
place
fantastic chicken sandwich with goat cheese. I ate that last night. It was
Does
amazing.
it somehow attract douchebags like a moth to flame?
Apparently.
Maybe.
Step up your game, Green Room.
Right.
You're no wit's end.
No, not at all.
But your fried mushrooms are amazing.
Yes. Yeah. No, staff is, I'm sure, very cool. Never met them, but I'm sure they're great
Absolutely.
people.
Good guys.
So yes, coming up in the next year, I believe that Wits End is probably the central focal point of DFW metal, because we really have no other port to harbor at this point.
Well, there's a few. I mean, look, like here in Denton is what there's.
We have Andy's.
Andy's, and then J&J's Basement, and then Backyard on Bell, I guess.
Every once in a while, you get Backyard on Bell, yeah.
Yeah, and then is that kind of it right now?
That's it right now. Aside from house shows that apparently get shut down every fucking week.
Right.
So.
And then Fort Worth is, you've got Tomcats, which Justin, who was at Reno's, is now running Tomcats, and he took over
He's killing it,
after
too.
Rustin
Absolutely.
passed.
Yeah.
And that's great because that's a great place.
And a shout out to Rustin Luther.
Yes,
yeah,
and
he's
shout out to Russ.
definitely carrying on the legacy.
Yeah. And so that's very cool. So there's still Tomcats out in Fort Worth. There's a few other clubs out in Fort Worth, but they don't really do underground music too much. Every once in a while you might see something at like a Lola's or something like that, but not often.
Actually, I have a hot take. Peppermill Lounge, step up your game. Come on, man.
There you go.
I've never been there.
Man,
I have not.
It's not great.
I know a few people beside yourself that have played there, and I haven't
it's all
heard.
right.
They should
glowing
put
reviews.
that on a shirt. Peppermint Lounge. It's not great.
It's not great.
Yeah.
The problem with that place is it was so clearly a strip club in the 80s.
Well, so was the Rail, though.
Yeah.
The Rail was a strip club, and I hear there is a rumor that it's going back to being a strip club.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Are they still going to have bands, though? Because I've been to play that.
I don't
damn
think
it.
so.
It would be
I
cool
think
to
that's
have
dumb.
a strip club where bands could go and play. I would, but maybe not so much in Fort Worth. Sorry, Fort Worth. You, the strip clubs are
Full of cesarean scars and greasy hair.
Yeah, gunshot wounds. Not fantastic. Not fantastic.
I don't know. I like Fort Worth. You stay dirty, Fort Worth.
I do like that aspect of Fort Worth. That it's just like hey,
Unapologetically nasty.
we're going to Fort Worth. It's gonna get fucking grimy and weird.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what you need in your life. It's
Hey,
good for
but
your soul.
that's what happens in Elm every single fucking night of the week
true,
anyway.
right?
So, you know,
The first time we ever played at Wits End, we watched the cops. I talked about dead dogs. Now I'm going to go to this. We watched the cops like tase a dude to death or some shit. Like,
I do remember that.
they
yeah.
electrocuted him so hard he had a heart attack.
Ouch.
And like, me and Spencer from The Infamous are just standing up there on the roof like, this is really fucked up, man. We're watching the whole thing. It was a weird experience.
I think that dude died.
Yeah, I don't know. There was an ambulance. He wasn't really moving that much. So, dead dogs, corpses.
Yeah.
What else is going on in Deep Ellum?
Yeah, tell us about your band.
Please.
Oh, my band, the current one, Onward will be March. We played our last show for the year a couple weeks ago at Tomcats. It was a fantastic show with Primordius and Chemicost and
Nice.
Stynax.
Okay.
I said it right, I think. It was a cool show. And then we are currently writing the first album with me on it.
Nice.
So we should be recording first of the year, maybe late January, February.
So, I don't actually think I've ever seen Onward We March without you. Was that not always the case? Do they have a different vocalist?
They did have a vocalist, good guy, Chris Hobbs. The direction they were taking, he was kind of going down, was more of a Gojira Mastodon kind of sound. The direction I'm taking it is more of a Gojira Morbid Angel.
It's funny how Gojira just kind of bridges those gaps, though.
It does, because
I totally understand what you just said.
yeah. Well, Gojira is one of those bands. Their riffs are just crushing. They just crush everything, and then they also have that kind of beautiful.
It's semi-melodic.
Melodic parts to them. So
They've got that really deep low end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, the singer's just going fucking batshit all the time. So that's kind of the direction we're going into now. I mean, not to say that the old stuff is bad, because we still play some of it live, but this band has been around for 10 years.
Yeah.
And what they were into back then is not necessarily what they all listen to now. So writing, a band always has to evolve, or else you're just...
I totally agree with that statement. You get that...
Unless you're Metallica, and you never should have done that.
Jay. That's a hot take on you, Metallica fan.
I'm a Metallica fan, but I'm not a new Metallica fan.
Yeah.
But
I think I came to the conclusion the other day that if Some Kind of Monster never came out, I would have been a much bigger Metallica fan.
The movie?
Yeah.
I never saw it.
I thought it was a documentary. It was not. It was therapy, and it was sad.
Yeah.
Oh, I did watch that. That's the one where they're all crying on the couch with Dave Mustaine.
Yeah, and they're just like, we abused the fuck out of Jason Newsted. Jason Newsted's still standing in the corner by himself like, yeah, they did. It was a really sad documentary / therapy session. Anyway, not to disparage Metallica. I'm sure you're all fine individuals except for Lars Ulrich, you stupid Danish fuck.
You fucking suck, Lars. Yeah, he's listening.
I totally lost my entire train of thought there because I was just talking shit on Lars Ulrich.
Right.
So, Onward We March has been around for quite a while, and this was my point, is that you run into fans after you've been a band for a while, and they get kind of pissed when your sound starts to evolve. But I feel like if you get pissed off at a band because their sound starts to evolve, you either accept it and move on, or you don't criticize them for it because that's like a natural progression.
No, I don't think you criticize them. I mean, yeah, stop listening to them, whatever. But don't give them shit for wanting to do what they want to do. That's the whole point of a band, really, is to do what you want to fucking do.
The moment it's not fun anymore, it's not worth it.
It's over.
Yeah. Why are you even doing it? It's not like America is like this hotbed for musicians making shitloads of cash.
Yeah, right.
I think we talked about it in the last episode. We were like, all of us are touring musicians. All of us have regular jobs.
Yeah. All of us, we sit there. Metal musicians in general, we all come from, a very blue collar.
Yeah, it's very
background.
Working class for sure.
I think a lot of that is why we play metal in the first place.
I am literally a construction worker. Like it's one of the most blue collar fields you can. It's like I literally wear a blue collar to work every day.
Damn, I worked in warehouses that are 140 degrees in the summertime. I did that for 8 years.
No, you do that for like 9 hours a day, just repetitive, crushing physical work, and your brain starts to be like, hit the fucking distortion pedal and let it go.
Yeah.
So I guess my main question is like, so Onward We March, you're now starting off with them. What are the main differences between the older sound and what you're bringing to the table?
My voice is a lot lower, a lot more guttural than his was.
Yeah, sure.
And the new stuff we're writing, there's still some clean vocals in there, but not as much.
Okay.
I don't write clean vocals well.
Do you sing the clean vocals?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't write them well, though.
Okay.
So when I do write clean vocals, I have to be extremely comfortable with them, or else I'm just going to replace it with some guttural bullshit.
Okay.
Now, when you say, adding a mix of like Gojira and Morbid Angel, are you going to be adding a lot of electronica into the new album?
Fuck no. That's a big fuck no, Craig. We're not going down that road.
I find that really disappointing, but I'll check it out anyway.
No,
we're synthesizers.
Yes.
We're going to stick to the domination, Blessed of the Sick era of Morbid Angel.
Not too radical.
Shut up.
So dirty, Craig's being tonight.
I'm sorry.
I gave him one Shiner box. He's just talking shit to the guest.
Yeah.
Matt Adkins, you're a lovely person.
Yes.
So,
we were at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre convention.
I saw that. You guys I have never seen two men look so fucking happy in my entire life.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was hella fun.
It was
you guys
fantastic.
you look like normal people look when they find like a field of lilies or something. You were just like, oh shit, this
look
is
at all the gore.
Best thing.
Look at all
It was excellent. I spent way too much money there.
But we did meet Sir David Vincent.
Yes, he was a fantastic person.
And he was super cool.
There is
the ex-singer now, again, of Morbid Angel.
Yeah.
And he's off doing his own thing. He's got like 4 different bands going on right now.
Yeah.
I feel like almost every metalhead, though, has like more than one thing going on.
No, but like he's got like 4 distinctly different. He's got a metal project. He's got the Hepcat. It's like a
like rockabilly?
Straight cat. Yeah, like rockabilly type thing.
It's rockabilly.
shit.
Yeah,
He's got a straight up country.
Rebel Country.
Yeah.
And then his new one is more of a almost black metal thing.
So
I've only heard a little snippet
all way
of it.
different.
Fuck, this guy sounds amazing.
And he put out a country album just a year ago or something like that.
Because I admittedly
like full on country.
I am certainly aware of Morbid Angel. I have certainly owned Morbid Angel albums, but I wasn't like as fixated on Morbid Angel because I was like admittedly way more of a power metal kid. I was like, Blind Guardian is God.
I never got into Blind Guardian.
Nobody ever did unless you're a
Blind
nerd.
Guardian's badass, man.
I loved
I'm down with it.
I loved Iced Earth. Okay?
Iced Earth is
that
badass.
was my jam. But
James-
Blind Guardian and what was the other one? Dungeon there's another one.
Diesel Beast? Are you talking shit about Diesel Beast?
No. There was another band that had like John Schaefer in it.
Oh shit.
And some of the guys from Blind Guardian.
Demons and Wizards.
Demons and Wizards. That was it.
Wizards.
Okay,
Yeah.
Demons and Wizards and Blind Guardian, kind of in the same category for me.
Right.
Way too fucking nerdy.
Fair enough.
No. If you're going to sing about dragons, your name better be Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah.
See, if I brought Alex on the show, he would fight you about that because Alex is our resident huge power metal fan.
He is. Like, that's because Diesel Beast, like, we know how fucking corny we are.
But it's fantastic. I think I said to you the last time you played Wits, I said it's like the 80s never fucking ended.
That was kind of our goal.
It's amazing. Absolutely,
we didn't want to be
incredible.
like straight 90s jerk off on your guitar power metal. We really wanted to bring like, this is Beastmaster the band.
Yeah.
That was like our whole deal. But thank you. That's very nice. But yeah, I would actually, because I've heard Alex just vehemently defend bands that even I'm like, man, you're a fucking nerd.
Does he do the Manowar? Is he?
Oh yeah, he saw Manowar. Loves Manowar.
Man, I do Manowar. I'm sorry.
Did you hear about the Manowar news?
No, I have not been on Instagram in the last.
There's one of the members got arrested for child pornography.
I am what sucks. I am no longer a Manowar fan.
But then again, you look at their album covers and you're like, I can see it.
So do we know which member it was?
Captain Codpiece. Oh wait, that's all of them.
I believe it was one of the guitar players.
Okay, then I probably wouldn't, because I just know really there's Eric the singer, and then there's Joey DeMaio, the bass player.
Who?
Guitarist Carl Logan, arrested for child pornography.
Have you ever noticed that Joey DeMaio looks a lot like Peter Steele on like a very bad meth binge? Like he has that skinny neck bass, which first off, those piss me off. Like,
now
grab a bass, dude.
Right?
But no, he has the same fucking eagle tattoo on his arm. Mm-hmm. But his hair's just like all stringy and shitty. And like Peter Steele was addicted to cocaine and looked 5 times better than this guy.
He was not well. He turned out to be mortal, but while he was here,
he was immortal.
He was one of those people that we were like, yeah, he's gonna fucking outlive
my girlfriend's girlfriend.
What she don't stop what she does.
Yeah, okay, so the rest of the episode is going to be Peter Steele impressions.
Peter Steele
impressions. Dude, that sounds like a train I want to be on. So, what else?
Got about 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes? All right.
So we take a break.
So this is a good question, I think.
Is it?
It is. What is your plan to do with Wits End further? Like, how do you plan to like dig deeper into this and pull us all out of our slump? Because you're really just a beacon in the desert right now.
Is the same thing we've always been doing. Really, is kind of just be welcoming to every single person that walks through that door.
Cool.
And
no, I support that because even if it's not my cup of tea, like I can appreciate quality. You know?
Right. I on Monday night after the Behemoth show, I had some
Dick.
people.
Hate you.
Yeah, no,
So
seriously.
good. It was so good. You missed out.
I know. At the gates.
It was fucking amazing.
Fucker, dude.
But I had a lot of the ex-Reno staff come over and hang out. They said, I love Wits End, but I hate this fucking music you're playing. And I'm like, well, it's karaoke night.
If you don't do karaoke night, though, like
everybody in Deep Elm does a fucking karaoke night.
Yeah.
Except for like 3 Links, I think, doesn't. But yeah, it was, and she was singing Coolio, "Gangster's Paradise." I understand nobody likes that song, but
not even Coolio.
I beg to differ.
Stevie Wonder does not like that song. So Jay's big on Coolio.
Okay. There you go.
1, 2, 3, 4. Get your woman on the floor.
Do you know how mad I would be though if like I was playing a show in a town and then Weird Al came to that town and he sold out his concert playing one of my songs that I ripped off from Stevie Wonder. Like there's a whole thing with Coolio. I'm just like, you're not really a person.
It's weird. Last week I actually saw a movie in the Alamo Draft House with Coolio in it.
Really?
We saw it with Jay from Deadly Sins Burlesque.
What was it?
It was called Convent. The Convent. Convent.
So
I
wait,
believe.
like Coolio was in a movie about nuns?
It was Killer Nuns. Yes, it was very.
How?
It was okay.
Wait. Was the tagline for this a blast for you and a blasphemy?
I don't believe so.
What? God damn it!
Coolio did have one of the greatest lines in it, and I believe it was, "Get away from me, you black magic bitch!" And then he just unloaded a gun into her.
That sounds like an infamous song.
Think Night of the Demons.
Oh shit!
Meets shit. I can't even put it. It was not a good fucking movie. Not a good movie.
I need to watch this sometime at 3 a.m. in the morning after I'm wasted.
I'll definitely have a few drinks and watch it. We had a blast, but that's because they had like really cheap margaritas there. And of course, it was a private screening.
Okay.
So
Your Instagram is shitty with margaritas. I love it.
okay, margarita season is almost over, so that will switch into.
Is there an actual season for that?
Yeah, warm.
Okay.
Which is fucked up because National Frozen Margarita Day is in fucking February.
Yeah, I don't see
That
having a
is
margarita
bullshit.
in February.
Why?
No, I don't know. Somebody came up and just started writing these fucking holidays down on a calendar and went, okay, it's National Kitty Day. It's National Stepbrother Day. It's National Hug a Drummer Day. Fuck you and your holidays.
Yeah. You know what? We're going to take a break on that. Fuck you and your holidays. This has been Warlord Radio Podcast. Matt, what's the first song we are playing from Onward We March tonight?
There you go. No, we're not.
We don't have anything from
we're
Onward
not.
We March.
We're playing something from one of his
Deep
older
cuts.
bands. Yes.
Deep cuts.
All right, let's start with the old one. Let's do Self-Induced Slavery.
Self-induced
From
slavery.
The Adversary.
Awesome. Here it is.
Week in the Adversary.
And so, yeah, my wife comes in. I have this entire metal playlist that's compiled that all of the bands operated at 432 frequency because it's good for meditation. And my wife just looks at me like I'm a psychopath because I'm in there like doing yoga and shit to like birth them and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
And let's just like say that like Varg Vikernes, you're kind of a piece of shit. Just throwing that out there.
But you helped me harness my chakras, so.
Harness my chakras. I had to learn tolerance on my own, you piece of shit.
We're rolling.
Are we rolling? All right. So as we get started in part 2, while we were on the group smoke break.
Yes.
I don't smoke, but
I have to have tobacco.
I hang out with the cancer sticks.
There's a lot of podcasts out there. I feel like they're like, we're going on break, and then they just immediately start up again. That is not this podcast. We go on break specifically so I can have a cigarette and keep my brain functioning. Like if I don't maintain the chemical composition of my brain, it just all degrades.
But one of the things we end up doing is we end up talking about a lot of the shit that would be like, fuck, we should talk about that on the show. So I want to talk about, you guys just recently played the infamous CD release show.
We did.
Andy's.
From for the last episode actually was the infamous promoting said show.
Correct. And
we actually got one right.
Yeah. And it was a killer show, and you guys played an interesting set because it was Carrick, Jason, and Wyatt doing vocals.
Yeah, Ghost Les left the band. I don't know if we've actually announced. Did we ever announce that?
I mean, we had his last show.
Yeah,
We've officially announced.
So anyway, you guys, I guess that was only your second show of you guys doing vocals, right?
Yeah, we did one in Austin, and then we did one here.
Yeah, well, you guys did a great job. Like, I thought it was killer, because normally you have Ghost, who is the singer and the mic vocal point.
Yeah.
And then you guys were just playing your instruments. And to step up and take control is extremely fucking difficult, and you nailed it. But you also debuted your new singer at the very last song.
We did. A guy who we have not announced online, but have probably announced online.
By the time this comes out, it'll probably be announced.
Go ahead and announce it, because we do run with a lag. It takes a little while.
His name is Ziggy Paul Leia. We pulled him out of a punk band.
That's a fucking rock star
Right?
name.
No, he's not in a punk band.
What? The supervillain.
They're not a punk band. I wouldn't call them a punk band.
I would. What would you call them?
They're kind of I'd call them somewhere in the metal vein, because most of their songs are a lot heavier than punk. They do have a lot of punk influences, by all means.
Hardcore.
Yeah, probably hardcore.
So,
but anyway, yeah, we got this dude because the last time we had to interview a vocalist or audition a vocalist rather.
Yeah, because just to back up, you guys started with Ghost.
Yes.
And then he left for a short period and came back.
Yes.
But in that interim, you had a different singer.
We did, and those of you who know that singer know him well. He's a good guy. It just didn't really work out.
Right on.
And that's not really to disparage him. He did his best. It just wasn't fucking happening.
Amen.
But the audition process was fucking brutal. Out of like 7 people, there were like 3 that maybe might have worked.
Uh-huh.
And then we kind of settled a little bit. I don't think he'll listen to this podcast. You think he'll listen to this podcast? Hey, Kevin, I love you, but you did not work out. So, and this is a bit of a hot take. Again, Kevin, if you're listening, I apologize, but Ghost came out to a show with Kevin and got so fucking pissed off at what he saw that he rejoined the band.
that is true.
That is absolutely what happened. It totally happened that way. And then we recorded the album, and then and this is not to disparage Ghost either. Ghost is like 37. He was like, I want to smoke weed and play Dungeons and Dragons at home. And I was like, I get that.
And be a dungeon master.
But we have to sell this record, so we have to go do shit. And so he left the band in the interim period between that, and we've been working with Jason and I primarily on main vocals.
Right.
And Wyatt kind of bringing up the background.
Yeah, just a little bit of filler. But it worked.
Thank you.
It worked. I know that'd be
it's brutal.
Incredibly tough to do.
It's strange not just getting to play my bass and having to sing a lot more. I'm not a terribly comfortable singer. I'm way more comfortable hiding behind my bass and just kind of like leering at the crowd.
Yeah, I will say that anytime you're in a band, especially since none of us are making money and like organizing schedules always sucks donkey dicks. Anytime that you can keep it to a bare minimum is ideal. And I'm not saying anything against your new singer. He seemed like a super cool guy, and maybe he'll be with you for 20 years, which would be amazing. I'm just saying,
the way we kind of feel,
if you ever find yourself in that position again,
we're prepared.
Feel totally comfortable just plowing through as you did.
Awesome. That's really super nice, Craig. Thank you. But no, I would like to ask you guys, because I mean, like, we were a 5-piece, went down to a 4-piece. You guys both come from bands that have like a dedicated front man. And so the biggest hurdle, I guess, for us to cross was that, like, we felt we lost a lot of the stage show because we were all glued to microphones the whole time and couldn't just fucking, like, you know, slam into the walls and shit.
I'm always impressed when there are, like, everybody in the band does do vocals. That always impresses the shit out of me. And it never really matters how much stage presence or that is the presence.
Okay.
Is having a group of guys up there that are doing, like, look at Mastodon.
Yeah.
Mastodon was not supposed to, they had a vocalist originally.
Right.
He quit the band right before they recorded the album. So all those dudes had to learn how to fucking sing.
Yeah.
Or else
that's kind of what happened here.
They were going to lose a record contract or something like that. So they all had to learn how to sing on the fucking fly. And they were like, well, can you sing that part? So that's why the drummer sings. He's like, yeah, I can try to do that. And the bass player, he's like, yeah, I can try to do that. And the band wouldn't be the same with a front guy.
Yeah. For me, it's a case-by-case basis, because there's totally bands. I mean, look, Metallica, Megadeth it wouldn't be right if they had like just a front man, right?
But at the same time, like Iron Maiden would not be right without a front man.
Correct.
No, Bruce is one of the most amazing human beings on
Yeah.
the face.
No, straight up. Up the irons. The irons.
For sure. But you know what I mean? So it's just totally case by case. It's like I've seen good and I've seen bad on both sides of it. So it's hard, but you definitely are able to pull that off.
Thank you for your vote of confidence. We are, Ziggy is doing very well right now. One of the things we really like about him is his straight up work ethic. Like, this dude for his auditions was off book. Like, he knew the songs. When we played the show the other night, he only came up to join us for the last song, and I'm standing there watching this dude in the crowd. He knows the lyrics to all of our songs, like, by memory at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was kind of weird seeing the old singer and the new singer standing in the front row singing.
Both sides.
While you're singing lyrics, hoping that you're mouthing the same words. Because I'm like, is this the right verse? All right, cool.
We were not. We did our best.
The first show I played with Onward was at Wits, and the original vocalist was standing right there, almost judging me on how I was singing some of the stuff that he wrote. And then it was really cool because he actually like shook my hand after the show, and he was like, "That was amazing."
You are a killer vocalist. Like,
No.
you put on you like, from a person that has seen you perform, like, you put on a great show, and I like really like, if you're gonna do fucking harsh vocals, like, do the fucking guttural ass harsh vocals, and you've got that. I love that about you guys.
I appreciate it.
And then I love Craig because you know what, man?
There's no other vocalist like him.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly
Nobody sounds like him. Nobody does the stage presence thing like him. Nobody has the fucking scepter from hell on
You know what's
stage.
weird? I was listening to Voivod the other day, and I was like, Voivod sort of sounds like Silver Tongue Devil. And then as like I was really listening, I was like, Silver Tongue Devil is better than Voivod.
I would not say that, but that's a high compliment.
I'm not a Voivod fan, so I think they are.
You know what? They're great, but Silver Tongue Devil is definitely on the greater end of that scale for me.
I'll make no claims to being good or bad, but I will say that one of the cooler things as we get out and play with a bunch of bands all over the fucking place is we don't find really any other bands that do what we do.
Not at all. I can't imagine you would.
We're a straight up metal band, but we really tried really hard from the very beginning to kind of carve our own little niche out. And, you know, like us, don't like us, whatever, I think it'd be kind of hard to argue against that, is that we don't really copy anybody's sound other than our own.
Oh, yeah, I'll absolutely say that. You guys are very original sounding.
Which, by the way, Silver Tongue Devil is playing Wits End on December 21st.
Thank you.
Bam,
Yes,
that is
that's
synergy, my friends. That is professionalism we just presented you.
Yes. And we love Wits End. We have forever. So.
Wits End is a great venue.
Come to Wits End and drink your ass off.
In fact, we talked about this last week with the Infamous. The last time I played Wits End, Riley from the Infamous and I got shithoused, and then ended
I
up
was there.
arm wrestling a bunch of girls upstairs.
I didn't see that.
I think I do remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a very fun night. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, Wits End is your venue if you're in Dallas and you're looking for a venue for nice. Shit, I lost it. Anyway, Wits End's great.
Enough about your band. Let's talk about Matt's band.
Let's absolutely talk about
So one of
Matt's
the things
band.
that we like to ask bands is kind of like insider baseball type stuff. So where do you guys practice at?
It's called New Jam in Plano.
Okay.
It used to be the Jam Station.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not called New Jam anymore. They changed names again. It's called Texas Jam, I think. Texas Jam Rehearsal.
So you go from Dallas to Plano.
No, I live in Allen.
Oh, okay.
So
right
I'm
on.
10 minutes away from the rest of the guys are the ones with a commute. Tito lives in Richardson. One of the guys lives in fucking Forney.
So why that place? Just cause
Man, your band is dedicated.
They've been there for about, I want to say, a year and a half or so. So when I joined the band, it was like, they were there a year and a half before I joined the band.
Okay.
So when I joined in, I was like, hey, this is fucking perfect. Because I used to have to drive to Arlington from fucking Allen twice a week. And
Yeah, brutal.
It was a 2.5 hour commute.
For you, those of you that don't know, like if you're out of state or you don't live in the DFW area, it is a hellmouth of a maze that our entire Metroplex is, and it takes no less than 45 minutes to get from one place to another.
Yeah,
if
that's
you're
anywhere.
lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and that's if you don't hit traffic.
which you will.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's taken me 3 hours to get from Buc-ee's in Fort Worth to here.
There have been
It's
times
20 minutes away on a good day.
Damn.
There have been times more than once where I've been stuck in standstill traffic on a Sunday night at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Why is this happening
Yeah.
right now? Where are all of you people going?
Yeah.
There was one time I was playing Tomcats with Color of Home, and I got stuck in traffic for 3 hours. I showed up at Tomcats as the intro to our first song. They were playing it. I just jumped on stage.
Run in, grab the mic.
I had
I've
less
done
than
that.
20 minutes or 20 seconds to belt out the first lyrics.
Like basically just unload your shit and get on stage.
And I do the first verse, and I look back, and everybody, the entire band is just shaking their heads at me.
God, Jay, do you remember when we were playing, was it the Curtain Club?
And Ghost dropped his bike.
Ghost wrecked his bike like 10 minutes away from the club. We were going on stage in like 5. And like, so my wife has to go sit out with his bike until a friend of ours gets there. They rush Ghost to the show. He's limping. He's like bleeding. He's all bruised up and shit. Still does
That's
the
metal.
whole show.
Fuck metal.
Yeah, that's fucking metal street cred.
I'm telling you, man.
sure.
Like, yeah. But it's weird. Like nobody in the outside of the Metroplex realizes like what a clusterfuck it is to drive around in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely. Yeah, I've driven all over the U.S. and there's no place that is as fucked up as. I've never been to California. I assume that's a shit show. But the DFW area is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's nuts, and the streets are so narrow.
It's fairly Mad Max out there.
It is
Yeah.
a bit. It's Fury Road on
There's
35.
always construction, no matter what.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that actually segues into our next like standard interview question. Like, how do you guys typically get to your shows? Do you caravan? Do you have like
Oh
one
no,
vehicle?
no.
Or?
Each person goes their own way.
No shit.
Yeah, because I think it's because we live so far apart,
Right.
and we only practice once a week.
Okay.
It's we're dad metal. We're all of us except for one of our guitar players.
We're going to
has
touch
kids.
on that later, but we are absolutely dad metal
So
as well.
my guitar player and my bass player have brand new babies, less than a year.
It is so brutal being in a band and having a child that young.
Yeah, and my kids are 13 and 11, so they're pretty self-sustained. They can pop their own popcorn if they want to.
See, my
That's what I
son's
feed them.
5, and if I don't tell him what to do, he'll just come home to a kid sticking a fork in a socket.
No, see,
like,
yeah,
"Dude, what are you doing?
5 is definitely a rough age.
It is, because he's exploratory and stupid.
Yeah.
So actually, okay, that segues me into like one more thing that I was going to bring up a little bit later. But you and I share a very unique perspective in the fact that we're both musicians. We both have multiple irons in the fire. We both run businesses. We both have like a standard day job that actually pays the bills. And on top of that, we have families, like legit families that we have to feed.
Yeah.
And they get real hungry when we don't work. And so I guess my question to you is like, how do you personally balance something like that? Because I've got one kid, you've got two.
I don't. My kids don't live with me.
Oh.
They're from a previous marriage.
Okay.
And when they are over, I have my wife over here. That,
yes.
And by the way, we have the lovely Sarah here.
We have the lovely Sarah here.
She's off in the corner.
She runs the fucking show, man. I
know that. When you guys played at Abbey Underground, I met Sarah for the first time, and I was just like, man, she is rad. She is completely holding that ship together.
Oh, absolutely.
Shout out to Sarah.
She knows that I have to have my stage beers. She knows.
My wife knows these things as well.
Yeah. She knows when I come home late at night after being at the bar, I'm not going to want to wake up and feed the kids in the morning.
That's sweet. My wife's still like, get your ass up. It's cornflakes and it's one kid, you lazy fuck.
Just leave the cornflakes out
Go watch
overnight.
Spider-Man with your son, you son of a bitch.
No, if I leave the cornflakes out overnight, my kid will just like, I don't know, pour it into the PlayStation or some shit. He's
for
5.
Fuck's sake. For
He's
fuck's sake.
caveman, dude. Sorry, that I'm just sitting here picturing my kid pouring cornflakes into the PlayStation. Be like, yeah,
you
that's
fucking
what he
jinxed yourself.
does.
That's what you're waking up to in the next week.
Yeah.
Little boys do damage to your house in dollars. Like,
Yeah,
every day.
I have 2 little girls, so I don't know about the.
And they online, they look so sweet. They look so sweet.
You'd think so, but
no, I'm saying
13-year-old girls are fucking assholes.
they're so mean. They're so
fucking mean, and they're brutal. They're
yeah. They're like, you got arm flaps. It's like, fuck you, Trixie.
They don't. There's not a fucking day that my 13-year-old doesn't go and you're getting fat.
That's really mean.
Like, what the fuck?
My kid's 5. He's like, you're bald. I'm like, everybody knows I'm bald. I really leaned into the bald thing, son. Can we focus on something else?
Yeah. You embraced it. You took.
Don't laugh too hard, boy. This is going to be you.
Yeah, no, seriously. I'm like, you think you're cute now? I used to look just fucking like you.
I used to be cute too, damn it.
But no, I guess, I mean, it's a difficult task to chase creative endeavors and still support a family.
I remember when my first daughter was born, it did cross my mind. Well, shit, I have to fucking quit. And
I did the same thing for
but
about
then I was like,
months.
man, if I'm not fucking happy, that's going to reflect on the kid too.
See, I didn't even have that. I quit playing when my son was born. I thought I was like, I'm going to do the responsible dad thing. I'm going to cut my hair. I'm going to shave my beard. I'm going to go get a regular job. And then like 3 months into that, my wife just looks over at me and she's like, go start a band. You are making me fucking crazy with how depressed you are. And it was like, as soon as I started a band, everything was cool again.
There you go.
Yeah.
And Diesel Beast was born.
There you go.
Around the time my first daughter was born, Waking the Adversary had broken up.
Yeah.
So I was fucking pretty goddamn miserable, and I couldn't stand being home all the time with my ex-wife because I was on tour a lot.
Yeah.
So we didn't really interact a whole ton, and I worked during the day, and as soon as I got home, she would go to bed, and that was it.
Doing the passing ships in the night thing in a relationship is fucking rough, man.
It's rough, but it I don't want to say it would have worked out if something else was happening because I left her she had a bit of a drug problem. But I left her, and after I left her, I met Sarah 2 weeks later.
Oh, well, I think you kind of won.
Yeah.
I don't know your ex, but Sarah seems pretty rad.
Raging bitch.
Wait, which one? Sarah or your ex?
They both have their moments? No, the ex-wife takes the cake. Yeah.
You are a ballsy
I was going to say,
person,
and
my
Matt
friend.
needs to crash on your couch tonight.
Yeah, so okay, I got an extra room.
She's got a smile on her face. She knows my sense of humor.
That's because she's going to own your ass when you get out of here.
That's true. And we're not going to be a part of it. I will say this, though. If you, like, send pictures to me later of your eyes all black and shit, like, I'll keep them.
Yeah.
Those are steel-toed?
All right. Ouch. So
anyway, she is threatening him visually right now for this audio medium. It's kind of hot. So, Craig, give me one. Bail me out here. I'm totally lost.
Sure. Let's talk about our shared love of horror.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you've been to Texas Frightmare Weekend several times.
Yes.
And I've volunteered there for several years. And then we went and partied together down at the Cult Classic Convention in Bastrop just recently.
Okay, then I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Out of all the Frightmares you've been to, what was the highlight? the number one?
There's a few, but the one that sticks out the most was getting to meet and hang out with Ernest Borgnine.
Oh shit!
What?
Yeah, see, I didn't go that year.
Like, that sounds kind of unusual because, not a lot of people necessarily associate with him with horror.
That dude is in one of my favorite films in the whole world.
Same here, but for you, what is it?
Logan's Run.
Oh, yeah.
I love Logan's Run.
Oh, it's a great
for me,
that's not even a really great adaptation of the story, but it's still a fucking awesome movie.
It's a cool movie, yeah.
For me, I way geeked out that he was in the Wild Bunch and he Sam Peckinpah stories. I was like, fuck. But no, what was like really amazing about that was I got to like actually hang out with him because he was at the time, he's passed, R.I.P.
right?
Ernest.
He's like
he was 95 at the time that I was hanging out with him. So like when people would come up, like I would kind of like collect the money for him and like guide him around and show him where stuff was, all this kind of thing. And he was literally the coolest motherfucker I have ever met because he was 95. He would be the first person down sitting at his booth. He would sign hours after people that were like 30 had turned in, and he would still have like a long line. When little kids would go by, because he was also in SpongeBob SquarePants.
That's right.
He would yell at the little kids, and the little kids would be like, "What?" And they'd look.
SpongeBob.
And
they just go retarded.
And he would talk about the movies that he was working on. A 95-year-old guy still working on movies would not complain about anything at all. And
Even I read somewhere he edited scripts. Like he got really sick and was like bedridden for a while, so he just like edited scripts for that entire time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then, like as soon as he was good to go again, he was back on screen.
But it was just such an eye-opening experience because here was a legit legend.
Yeah.
That like other stars at the convention were like, holy fuck,
shit.
that guy's a real actor.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're chumps, but this guy's the real
This guy
fucking
did
deal.
like Royal Shakespeare in Britain.
And he was the nicest, coolest motherfucker ever. And for anybody that thinks that they're getting old or anything like that, fuck you. Because this guy was 95 and working.
Fair enough.
If you can beat that, then you can complain. But if you're like, oh, I'm going to be 30 and I'm getting old, go fuck yourself.
No, I'm just bald and my back hurts.
Right? That's because you break rocks with your fists all day.
That's true. This is my job to hammer rocks. So you got to meet Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah.
That's fucking sweet.
But also meeting Clive Barker, that was really cool.
Clive Barker was cool.
I got to meet Clive Barker at a Dallas Comic-Con in the 90s when I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really know who he was at the time, but I grabbed one of his, he did a comic series. I want to say it was called Dark World. That might not be right. But whatever his comic series was, I grabbed a copy of it, and I was way too young to read that particular title. It influenced me a lot at this point. But yeah, that was every time I think about meeting Clive Barker, that was the same weekend I got to meet Stan Lee.
No.
And as a huge comic nerd, which is what I am, like that was a big fucking deal. So like I always associate Clive Barker with meeting Stan Lee. Mm-hmm. So yeah, anybody else that meets Clive Barker, I'm just like, I hope you had a magical experience.
Yeah.
I really do. I hope you had a magical experience.
But for me, like most of the fun, honestly, like it's always cool to meet cool people and, get like the occasional autograph from like an icon like Dario Argento or something like that.
I was going to say the highlight for me was Dario.
Yeah, and that's amazing.
Or D. Snyder.
Yeah.
So meeting,
that's rad to me. Like,
yeah, meeting him, I was like, God damn, this guy's legendary. His whole fight against not the
NAACP. But that's like
PMRC.
PMRC.
Yeah.
But like as far as like metal legends go, like as a legend.
Oh, he's legit.
He went up and wrecked shop on Congress for an hour.
Yeah, you can't say that like the weirdest group of musicians took on the fucking US government.
And won.
Yeah. Well, actually, they lost.
Kinda.
They still had the sticker, but it was a win because then every album with a sticker on it, the
made
sales
money.
went through the fucking roof.
Yep.
I could tell
And
you.
a lot of musicians on the list that they had, a lot of people had never heard before.
Yeah.
Merciful Fate, Venom,
Right.
Mentor.
Basically, okay, so shout out to Tipper Gore for doing what you did to metal.
Yeah. You did amazing stuff. I still hope you die, but
Yeah, no, you're a horrible, iron-hearted woman. But you did a lot for our genre, and thank you.
absolutely.
There you go. you know who else was cool as shit was Roddy Piper.
No, I got to meet, okay, here's another weird thing about me that Matt may not know. You two absolutely know by this point. I am a massive fucking pro wrestling fan. I realize that it's stupid. I realize that it's fake. I don't give a shit.
Listen,
I want the spectacle. I want a dude in
We're horror nerds. Like, what are you going to tell us?
Yeah.
It's like...
For every so for every Leatherface for you that chops a little girl into pieces, there is a Hulk Hogan for me, dropping leg bombs on people and flexing his muscles, and I get the same feeling you guys get when you see that shit on screen. I'm just like, yeah.
So how did you feel about Roddy Piper as a wrestler? Were you a fan?
As a wrestler, okay, here's the deal about Roddy Piper.
Because I'm going to say, I love him for They Live Alone.
No,
Absolutely.
and They Live, no, and that fight scene with him and Keith David is one of the most amazing things.
Oh,
I've ever seen in
cinematically?
my life.
You can't get any better fight scene than that.
That fight scene is so good that they put both Roddy Piper and Keith David into the Saints Row 4 video game.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, there's this whole alley scene where you have to fight Roddy Piper, and it is almost move for move from They Live.
I believe there's a South Park.
Yes, they recreated
Yeah.
Recreated it, yeah.
Which is, that's
because
amazing.
it's such an amazing piece of cinema. You know what I mean?
And I don't mean that ironically.
I don't either.
Like, it's fucking legit amazing.
It's legit, and if you've seen it as many times as I have, you sit there and go, God damn, this is a long fight scene, almost too long, but you don't care because it's so well shot.
There's this old John Wayne movie. It's called The Fighter, and it's about an American that he's a boxer, but he goes to Ireland and moves into this village, falls in love with a girl, and her brother decides that I'm going to beat the shit out of this guy. And there, again, it's like one of these like 15-minute long fight scenes where you're just sitting there like, God damn, nobody does this anymore.
Right.
And it was the same feeling with They Live. It's like, this is still happening.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. You seriously get like, you want to look away and see like, how long is this actually? You want to time it.
And you got Keith David there like, take a swing, player. Like, it's fucking amazing. It's great.
That's a great.
But anyway, so how was he as a wrestler? Or how was he? Because he's dead.
As a wrestler, and this is with all due respect, Roddy Piper was operating at the same time that like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was operating. And he was operating at the same time that like Jimmy Superfly Snuka was. And these guys were revolutionary in the field. Like, whether you like wrestling or not, you have to recognize these guys as like, these guys pushed boundaries. They changed what being a professional wrestler was. Mm-hmm. Roddy Piper did that, but he did it on the microphone side. Mm-hmm. He revolutionized what modern professional wrestling is from the promo side. In the ring,
you're talking about the trash talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
And which is, in my mind, equally as important.
Right, because it's a show.
Wrestling.
Like, it's a character thing.
So. Yeah, you have to build drama. There is a thing called ring psychology. You have to build up, you have to trick the audience into thinking that they're seeing an actual fight when really it's a fake cop fighting a fake Mountie and he just swung a moose head at the guy. You have to sell that as a real fight. That's the job of the professional wrestler. And Roddy Piper was so good on the mic. He was as good on the microphone as he was unimpressive in the ring. Sorry, wrestling fans. Okay. That is a straight up shoot.
There you go.
Roddy Piper was as instrumental in bringing professional wrestling to a mainstream on the mic as Hulk Hogan was bringing it to the mainstream in the ring.
Okay, right on. Was he a little bit before Hogan?
He actually, if it wasn't for Piper's Pit, which was his segment on the show, there would be no Hogan. There would be no Hogan Andre the Giant rivalry, which is what catapulted Hogan to Hulkamania in the 80s.
Gotcha.
And Roddy Piper was absolutely instrumental in all that. Now, was he fucking phenomenal in the ring?
Right.
Not really. He really fucking wasn't. I love Roddy Piper so much, but he really wasn't. But what he was this over-the-top, larger-than-life character that really, like, he was the one that sold to the mainstream that like this is a spectacle. This is something you should be paying attention to.
I think that's why They Live worked so well.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely
He
right.
already was a character in himself, and then you just took the wrestling persona and you stuck him in a movie about aliens, and like it has subliminal messages and stuff like that the horror fans could attach themselves to. Then the wrestling fans, and then the John Carpenter fans. So I think that's why the movie worked.
It was multi-platform.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Like, and it's what you would do, like, when you put Hulk Hogan in a movie or something like that. He had to play Hulk Hogan. He was in that shitty Three Ninjas movie, but he was still Hulk Hogan.
What was the movie where he was the babysitter?
Suburban Commando.
Good God.
Oh, wow. No, man.
Y'all remember the fucking
amazing.
spy TV show he had with the boat?
Thunder in Paradise.
Yeah.
Remember all this. Wow.
No, man, I'm a huge Hulkman, or I was until he turned out to be a racist, orange, girthy piece of shit.
Yeah, he's kind of a turd now, isn't he?
And I mean, like in America, it's a really unpopular time to be a racist, girthy, orange piece of shit.
Yeah, it's not the 1800s anymore.
Anyway, but yeah, so that's my take on Roddy Piper. But as far as They Live goes, They Live is almost a perfect movie. And I say almost, and this is another hot take. That fucking slow blues soundtrack, if you are just watching that movie for the first time, it just puts you to fucking sleep, man.
Also, John Carpenter kind of hinted that he might be doing a sequel.
I would watch that immediately.
He was kind of hinting about it.
Yeah, I mean, I
think I might do everything.
I'll believe it when I see it too.
man.
But to have a sequel, I think there's no better time in America than right now to have a Live sequel.
You can literally reboot anything. I could reboot Old Yeller tomorrow, and instead of a dog, it's like some kid with leukemia.
Holy shit! I'd watch
Yeah, you'd watch that shit.
because when you have to shoot the kid,
there
that's going to raise some eyebrows.
It is. That's how I'm going to earn my Cannes Film Festival award.
Nice.
Murdering children.
All right, so another question.
Yo.
Favorite horror movie of all time?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Shit.
I know.
I got mine, actually. I know exactly.
go for
Okay,
it.
wait a minute. Since it's a tough one, top
All right.
three.
Top three we can do.
That's really hard. You go first, please,
Okay,
as the guest.
Okay.
You kind of turned the tables on us.
You really did.
All right, so my top three has to be, in no particular order.
Right.
Texas Chainsaw.
Right.
Yeah.
Videodrome.
Oh, nice.
Love it.
And Creature from the Black Lagoon.
There you go.
Yeah. See, I have a really
Solid
old.
list.
I have a Universal monster in mine as well.
Please. What's
'Cause
yours?
we talked about this on our horror episode, but the Lon Chaney Wolfman. It's not particularly scary, but ever since I was like 5 years old, I've loved that movie.
And Lon Chaney Jr. Yeah, I share the same birthday with him.
Nice.
Yeah,
There you go.
He's an amazing movie.
What I liked about that movie is what they did was something that nobody else was doing at the same
The
time.
very first transformation.
Exactly. They showed the transformation from man to wolf, which was not something that was done just straight up on screen the way they did it at the time. So that was really cool. My second, we talked about this, and Dr. Paul Bones, who we love very much and is a very good fan of Warlord Radio, gave me so much shit about this. But Event Horizon.
Okay, no.
We had a whole digression where he talked about how much he hated it.
He got
but
really mad at the fact that I love Event Horizon.
But
What's
I
wrong with
enjoy
Event
it.
Horizon?
I enjoy it.
It's the fucking Shining on a spaceship.
Thank you. Fucking yeah.
It's and I don't care if you put Sam Neill in a fucking horror movie, it's fantastic.
There you go.
You literally just made my entire point from that episode. Dr. Paul Bones, I hope you're fucking listening.
Like the Omen
We're gonna have
one.
him back so we can have an argument.
Sam Neill, if you put him in a horror movie, he's fantastic. The first Omen movie,
Well,
it's okay. The
the
second
final-
Omen movie, the Final Conflict, holy shit.
Well, I talked about on the last one.
Part 2 is my favorite of that Omen trilogy, but I do love the final
Conflict was amazing.
And here's the deal with me, and we talked about this on the horror episode, is like the first Omen movie, the first one.
Right.
I watched that real young.
Yes,
and it
right.
scared the fucking piss out of me, so I never watched another Omen movie.
The
after
decapitation scene where the sliding glass comes off the truck.
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That's gnarly. The one that bugged me in the first one was it wasn't the like this kid's the devil. I was like, cool, I got that. He killed his babysitter. Cool, I got that. It was when they went to go dig up the skeleton and it was a fucking jackal.
Yeah.
That burned itself into like this reptile part of my brain that I cannot drop. Every now and then I'll be having a good day and I'll be like, there was a jackal in that grave.
See, I have an opposite thing. I saw that and I was like, that's the coolest thing in the world. I need a jackal skeleton. And I'm going to bury it in my backyard. And years from now, people are going to fucking dig it up and be like,
Put a little
holy
tombstone.
shit.
Please do. I hope that some 5-year-old is standing there and it burns something in his reptile brain. He's like, nope. So, and then my third one is, I don't even know if it classifies as what I did.
You started with
Wolfman,
and then Event Horizon.
Okay, got it.
And then, so I guess my third would be, and I don't even, see, this is the funny thing, because back then it classified as a horror movie. Today it's just an enlightening story about pagans.
Huh?
It's The Wicker Man. I fucking love The Wicker Man. The original Wicker Man.
The original's fucked up.
No. I think it's horror. I think
so too. And I think that if that guy had just banged the innkeeper's daughter, he could have avoided that whole mess.
I know. That is the truth. If he had just done it, no problem.
Yeah.
Moral of the story, kids.
The problem is,
always bang the innkeeper's daughter.
This is a case of a remake being so terrible.
I never saw the remake.
I didn't either, but
there is.
Oh, the Nicolas Cage one? Yeah, I saw it.
The fucking bee scene. So fucking bad. Yeah, it's a gif. It's a fucking internet meme now.
Hold up.
Where he's
so the whole
about
the
bees.
Not the bees. That's from
the remake of Wicker Man.
Oh my God, that's
that's a classic case of a remake being so shitty that it overshadows how brilliant the original was.
Oh my God, no, because I never saw the remake because in my mind, because I come from a pagan and witchy background, like that was the perfect movie for me. I was like, yeah, they got one over on the Christian, sweet.
Yeah,
and everybody else was like, this is a horror movie, and I was like, that was very uplifting.
Well, it's a perfect movie anyway because it's one of those movies that, you know, if you ignore kind of its reputation because it's been around for like 30 plus years,
right?
Like if you were just to watch it with fresh eyes, you do not realize it's really a horror movie until the final scene,
right?
Yeah.
Which is masterful to pull off.
Because the rest of the time you're like, that movie might as well be called "This Asshole Hates This Village."
Well, it's not even that, but you know, it's got that very kind of brightly lit 70s feel to it, where there's even like at one point the innkeeper's daughter is like singing like a traditional like pagan folk song, and it's beautiful. And so it doesn't have like any of the ominous music or jump cuts. It's this very kind of like slow build up,
creepy.
You're just kind of like, well,
it wasn't even creepy.
Off, but what's going on?
Yeah. It's the exact same as like the original Butch and Sundance. Like when he does Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, that whole like scene. It's like, why the fuck did you do this? Right. And it was the same thing in The Wicker Man. It's like you got this naked girl singing and it just doesn't really compute, but it still works. But I mean, like, even Christopher Lee in that movie, when you meet the quote-unquote antagonist, you're just like, man, that guy seems fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And you don't feel that way about the dickhead cop. But I mean, like, if you were in the UK in the 70s during their satanic panic, like, you would very much identify with the cop.
Right.
So I think what's interesting about The Wicker Man especially is that it's only a horror movie if the paganism over Christian values scares the shit out of you. If you lean more on the pagan side, you're like, this is a very nice movie with some very, very lovely people.
I enjoy it. Great list.
Yeah,
Jason.
Man, I don't even know.
Jason likes Night of the Demons 1, Night of the Demons 2 with the backseat car hand job from the demon, and then Night of the Demons 3 where I think somebody's penis turned into a demon.
Favorite horror movie? Last Holiday.
That is horrifying.
No, it's Queen Latifah. I don't know. It's not even a horror movie.
I don't even know.
So
it could be.
Probably. Okay, so I'm going to start off with Hellraiser, the original.
Nice.
Because that shit scared the shit out of me as a kid because I had a little box, you know, the Pandora's box. Like, it was just a little plastic cube with stickers on it, so it didn't open up or anything. But I always thought that fucking thing was going to come open.
I have several puzzle boxes laying around my house.
I could show you such pleasure.
Yeah, Matt, you've got an incredible collection.
I do.
You really do.
So
I spend way too much fucking money on that.
As do most of our guests and hosts.
Right. For those of you that missed it, Sarah was like, that's my money. That's my cool shit.
Like a pharaoh, are you going to be buried with it all?
You're damn right.
Fuck yeah.
Chucky dolls and layman configuration boxes and
absolutely.
I hope to God some archaeologist one day is
Just
just
digs
like,
it up.
what the fuck is this thing holding up a Chucky doll? The demon's mask on him.
there you go. Yes, and I'm very jealous of that. That's a gorgeous piece, by the way.
So other than the Queen Latifah movie and the first Hellraiser flick,
So probably the next one would probably be Freddy Krueger, just because I was so young when I saw them.
which one though? Like
Probably.
Warrior?
Okay, so the one, I don't even remember which one it was, but the one where it's like the main chick and a dude, they're like working out, and then all of a sudden it's like they become roaches.
Oh, 4?
Oh, 4. That was number
Is that
4.
4?
Yeah.
No.
What a
Okay.
random poll.
I know, yeah.
That's very strange. Yeah, I think
It's just, these are just the things that
I'm
popped
not
in my head
judging
when I
you.
was a
That's just
kid.
random.
any
as fuck.
nightmare, any diehard Nightmare fan always says 3.
Yeah.
Is the
But that's like Jason being like, Jason in space was that
That was actually my next one, so sorry. It's actually Jason versus Freddy, because no, I'm kidding.
Oh
I'm
my
kidding.
God, that movie was racist. It was, though. I'm not making that shit up. There was a couple of points in Freddy versus Jason where, like, through today's scope, you're like, shit, you can't say that on TV.
And I don't even know what my third one would be.
No, you got
I'd
to
have
pick
to-
one.
I'd have
No,
to think
fuck
about
that.
it.
We're going to beat you up if you don't pick a third one. Pick a third one right now.
God.
Say something that'll make our listeners think you're not a douche.
through all the eras of
28 Days Later kind of freaked me out, because Fast Zombies scared the shit out of me.
No, that's a legit point. Fast Zombies
Fast
are
Zombies
fucking
scare the shit out of
scary.
me.
Okay, wait a minute. Are we really going to have the fast zombie versus slow zombie
Dude,
argument?
slow zombies, I'd fucking kill
I am
it.
a
Fuck slow
smoker.
zombies.
I'm a slow zombie guy.
Slow.
I am a smoker. If I take on fast zombies, I'm dead.
Yeah,
like,
I like.
I'm not
What
running.
pisses me off most about the slow zombies is like the people who fucking get eaten from behind, and I'm like, how the fuck did you not hear that coming from behind you?
Actually, technically, if you look at the 28 Days Later movies, they were not zombies. They were
it was a
infected by a
virus.
rage virus.
Yeah, it was a virus.
But if you want to, actually,
But they still ate faces.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
did, yes. But if you look at
Very good point, Jason.
zombies, would not be able to run because of rigor mortis.
That's absolutely true.
That's why I think the slow zombie thing is it's 1 or 2 not going to be fine. You're going to be fine, like totally cool.
yeah.
A couple hundred of them, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Steven, slow zombies. You talking about fast zombies or slow
no,
zombies?
slow zombies.
Oh yeah, numbers always fucking win.
Yeah.
Yeah, one fast zombie fucking kills you.
No, because I'm saying, like, I am a smoker. If the zombie apocalypse started tomorrow and it was rage virus, that would be the last stand of Carrot Coleman. I'm not running. I'm standing on a truck with a shovel and I'm taking out as many motherfuckers as I can. I would use the zombie apocalypse to just take out people I don't really like that much.
Okay, I have to say this has been a theory of mine for a number of years. All right, traditional zombies. We're not talking about rage fires. We're talking about the living.
You're talking about Night of the Living Dead.
Right.
Romero zombie.
I have a way to just bypass the whole thing. You can get away from them. You can live a happy life. It's called stairs.
Yeah.
You've never seen a zombie climb a fucking flight of stairs.
No, that's the same thing with like Doctor
That is
Who
true.
fans, and like they're like the Daleks are terrifying, and I'm like, just go up the stairs.
Yeah.
You can't like a Dalek can't follow you up fucking stairs. They've
was the thing-
proven that.
well, that was the other thing.
That's not true. Dawn of the Dead had it where when they bust down the barricade and then they go up and then the
no, but I'm on the same
black guard is gonna
wavelength
blow
as
us
Matt.
away.
Like, there are 2 words that enter my house in a slow zombie, or enter my mind in a slow zombie apocalypse, and that is treehouse. Like, I would be fucking golden. I would live like George of the Jungle. And
okay, yeah.
As long as I didn't fall, I'd be fine.
As long as you hit up the Ace Hardware on the way, you could live.
But
pretty comfortable.
the other
If
thing,
you don't hit up a hardware store on your way out of a zombie apocalypse, you deserve to die.
If you don't have a chainsaw, then you should be. Yeah,
Absolutely agree.
you have to have a little fun.
right?
100% agree. You had a point.
I was just gonna say that you're not wrong, like about the slow zombies, except as Romero again addressed in Dawn of the
They
Dead,
swarm.
is that if it gets to that point, like you could, if you're agile enough or have the resources, you can find a place to survive. But then you've got to deal with the bands of humans that are the real threat.
Yeah.
And that's a concept that The Walking Dead have drilled into the fucking
That is
ground.
the
Absolutely.
problem.
I'm
It's
so
like,
sick of that.
no, in the beginning,
But
though,
before they ruined it,
Yeah.
that was revolutionary.
No,
Yeah.
it was. Like, Robert Kirkman, the problem was that's the only thing he ever focused on.
I just want to say, like, I heard, I started off a fan of The Walking Dead until it, like, went into the crapper. But I heard just the most condescending interview with Robert Kirkman where he was talking about Dawn of the Dead, and he was talking about how The Walking Dead is superior because he felt that the end of Dawn of the Dead was laughable. He's like, well, they just fly off. And it's like, well, asshole, your show just repeats the same storyline over and over and over again.
Babe, The Walking Dead has become, oh, he doesn't like him. Who's fucking who? Oh, by the way, there's a zombie.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of people fucking arguing over fucking bullshit, trivial shit.
No, and quite frankly, like, from a real reality standpoint, like, you got a bunch of Romero zombies. You fly away in a plane, you're kind of golden.
Well, yeah.
Like, fuck you, Robert Kirkman. Like, that's true.
And from a director and writer standpoint, that's a fucking cliffhanger.
Yeah.
You could start another.
You could start the second off with just one zombie getting into the plane.
Yeah, absolutely.
One zombie made it
or
into the plane.
or landing somewhere.
Yeah, what happens when you run out of fuel?
Yeah.
You know?
There are a lot
What happens with zombies in Disneyland?
Whereas Robert Kirkman's just
do.
like, hey, how many kids are we going to kill this season? It's like, dude, this is enough. Like,
it's
I'm
just
done.
Like, to me, it just seems like perverse because, like, literally the entire zombie craze owes everything to Romero. Like,
I absolutely
nobody.
Agree. The fact that he would even presume that his shit was superior to Romero's. It's like, bro, if there was no Romero, there would be fucking no you.
Yeah. That's like talking shit about Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Like, you literally, like, you just can't.
Oh,
like,
man. And, dude, if we ever have a guest on.
There are some elitist metalhead assholes
I know.
out there that fucking totally discount Black Sabbath.
And they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not real fucking metalheads. And they don't fucking respect the Lord of the Rift.
You don't have to fucking like Black Sabbath, but if you don't understand what Black Sabbath did for heavy metal, then you are a fucking moron.
Absolutely.
That is a hot take. That is a Carrot Coleman 100% approved message. Motherfuckers.
Approved.
There
you go.
What are we standing at, Jay?
Got about 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
All right, we got it.
Craig, if you don't drink that beer, I'm going to drink it.
Go for it, buddy.
God damn it.
We got your 3, Craig.
So I would put Romero's Dawn of the Dead in there. Like any of the Dead for like of the original trilogy, you could put in there. But for me, the Dawn of the Dead is just so uniquely wonderful.
And even besides, like, okay, because Dawn of the Dead broke ground in the fact that it was clearly a story about racism. In certain aspects.
Do you mean
Night?
Do you mean Night of the Living Dead?
I mean Night of the Living Dead. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was the one I meant.
Yeah.
So the Romero canon.
Right.
It was a groundbreaking movie at the time. Zombies had never been presented to the public in that way.
Right.
But even if you discount like the actual movie itself, you cannot discount the cultural impact of the zombie and all of those cultural niches and phenomenon and shit that revolve around zombies all date back to Romero's shit.
Yeah.
He's the OG of the zombie. And if you can, again, like we were saying earlier, if you cannot respect what Romero did, you're not doing zombies right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he always had something to say with one of his movies. The first one was definitely a statement about racism.
For sure.
And Dawn of the Dead was about consumerism. And I think even the Day of the Dead was about how military
the military industrial complex and the breakdown
police state stuff like that.
There was very much there were very many political statements in those movies, which is really interesting because we don't tend to see ourselves as a ravenous predatory horde, but
we absolutely
we are.
Yeah.
We're a bunch of mutated apes just kind of eating our way across the universe.
But I would say this, that and again, one thing that differentiates him, because like you started to see like more like politically leaning horror movies coming out recently and stuff like that.
Yeah, but you got to do it right.
But even then, it's like, you know, one of the things that he did so uniquely well is like, even if he was commenting on something, it wouldn't overpower the fact that he was telling a strong story.
Yeah, it wasn't so on the nose that you lost what you were.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, here we're going to watch a treatise on consumerism. It's like, no, you kind of got sucked into the story of these people, and then you realized it was just more of a reflection of the society at the time.
Oh shit, this is a NAFTA agreement, except that dude ate that guy's nose.
So, and same thing with Night. You know, it's like, you know, Night I can still watch, and it still looks amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's so. I could easily pick any of those three, but for me, Dawn is the one.
It's the best.
You know, it's like you have the Goblin score, you have just the epic storytelling that you know, Savine. Even though they kind of look, the zombies look kind of like purplish green. You know, it's like to me, there's still just something so unique.
There's this
weird
signature
about
Savini's
it
work.
that it's just got this weird atmosphere that is so unique that it was just to me like mind blowing. Chainsaw Massacre. Absolutely, the Citizen Kane of horror movies.
Absolutely,
yeah.
I totally agree with that statement.
Like I actually just read it and posted an article of somebody else that put it real succinctly when they were talking about Chainsaw, because it's like a lot of people talk about, oh, it's so grainy or it looks like home footage, or you know, it's
the whole
like,
point.
That adds to the terror.
But it's actually so like beautifully constructed. Like if you look at it, just the shots and the framing and the sound buildup and the editing, it's a work of art.
The thing about Texas Chainsaw that always gets me is you don't watch the movie going, oh, that actor, they're all acting. You're in that goddamn van with a bunch of your friends on a trip. And shit goes terribly fucking wrong when they just knock on the wrong damn door.
Well, the one thing that Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original ones, hit on that I feel like even its predecessors like Jason and I believe Halloween came after Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
So you have Jason Voorhees, you have Michael Myers, you have Freddy Krueger, you have all of this whole slew of slasher. Like it starts its whole genre. But the thing that Texas Chainsaw Massacre hits on every level, it's like this could happen to me. This is a thing that it's so good at building real tension.
Well, yeah, and that's just it. Is like it's so like just crazy intense that movies made now suffer in comparison.
Yeah, I agree.
And the great thing about the movie too is there's no gore in it hardly at all.
Nah.
The hitchhiker actually has the most blood in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Every time Leatherface makes a kill, it's almost always off screen.
It's like quick and he's done.
Yeah, it's quick, it's over, it's done, and we all like applaud every time Franklin gets it. Because he's the most irritating person in any horror movie was Franklin, and he was in a wheelchair, so you felt bad for him at first. But he wouldn't shut the fuck up. So
right.
We were so happy.
Yeah, he's kind of an asshole. But
oh yeah,
you're in a wheelchair. Life already taught you its lesson.
But
sorry for our differently able losers.
To me, it's
losers. I said,
wow.
Damn.
Fucking go ahead and edit that out if you would, please.
Wow.
I meant listeners. You guys are beautiful. Shit, that was bad.
Yeah, he wasn't referring to you. Dead dogs and losers. Yeah, it's gonna be a good episode.
Dead dogs, losers.
And
is there anybody out there with cancer we can make fun of?
Probably. Well, we just kind of made fun of a guy in a wheelchair in the movie, so
yeah.
We're on a roll.
Garrick, you're a dickhead.
You've done your part. You've done your part.
And then if I had to pick, gun to my head, I'd say John Carpenter's The Thing.
Okay, another
like
goddamn
groundbreaking.
You did this last time we did a horror list. I neglected to put the Thing on my horror list, and then as soon as you said it, I was like, "Fuck! I should put that on my list."
It's a groundbreaking movie, special effects wise, because he was. I mean, we call it a shoestring budget, but it really wasn't. He had a couple million.
No, at the time it was a big movie.
Yeah,
I mean, even a blockbuster at that time was like 7-8 million.
Yeah, right. But you also got to think Kurt Russell was not a nobody. He was a star.
Yeah.
I brought that up the last time we brought up The Thing, is like Kurt Russell was in this sort of like golden era Kurt Russell phase where he was like, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
And he could.
$1 billion.
Let's be in a fucking movie about a glue monster that changes shape. And
But just everything about it, like I watch it and I love it. Like the music is terrific. The shots, the editing, the acting. It's
Wilford Brimley.
It's just fucking awesome.
No, but again, one of those movies that's
Diabetes.
very good at, building tension. So we just made fun of people with diabetes. Now that was not me. That was Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Sarah has diabetes. You're a dick.
All I said was diabetes because he mentioned Wilford Brimley.
She has diabetes and listens to Dying Fetus.
All right. I don't know what we were talking about. Now I can just think about diabetes and dying fetus.
But I will say that, of course, like that list for me could change at any moment. And
that's true. Like,
that leaves off like a fuck ton because I feel like a huge douche, not even mentioning.
I feel like we could do a whole episode about our top 10 movies.
We absolutely could. I have a question for you two because, like, most people know, most of our listeners know this about me. I like horror a lot, but I really do skew more towards fantasy, like Beastmaster, Conan the Barbarian, that kind of shit.
I fucking love Beastmaster, dude.
Conan,
Yeah, and I mean,
Conan and Beastmaster, both great.
I love, and I mean, as much as I love those shitty 80s fantasy movies, I love like campy ass horror movies. But my question to you two, because you are like horror aficionados,
right?
You spend a lot of time and energy in that genre. What are your favorite horror movies that have come out in the last 10 years? Ha! Suck it, because I got two.
Yeah,
Three. I have three.
Go for it.
Bone Tomahawk.
That was great.
I haven't seen that yet.
I
want to
see it.
I really
see it.
Hold up. Isn't
Kurt Russell.
WWE? Okay.
It is Kurt Russell.
They made like a remake of that movie, and there's a WWE wrestler in it that you're like, that's lame. And then he does his performance. You're like, that was really good.
No, this is
No Evil?
This is a Western horror movie.
Yeah,
I think I'm thinking of Mohawk, maybe.
I don't know, but this has Kurt Russell in it.
So Tomahawk was Kurt Russell?
Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk.
Tomahawk.
Yeah, and I think my wife described it as a bunch of dudes walking through the desert for about an hour and a half, and then the end is like, what the fuck just happened? And that's pretty much it is.
No, because I can do a slow burn as long as there's a good payoff.
When the ending happens, you're like, holy shit, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah.
So real quick, what did you think of The Witch?
I loved it.
I did too.
Yeah, you finally saw it.
I finally saw it. I'm actually, I love that movie so much. I'm going to get a Black Phillip tattoo that says Live Deliciously. Like, I fucking love that movie.
I knew you would. I was so surprised when you hadn't seen it.
Both you and Paul were like, I can't believe you haven't seen that movie. So I actually think I went home and watched it that night. And I was like, fuck, this is great.
Maybe I need to watch that movie again because I wasn't too happy with it.
It's a slow burn, but they do such a good job at recreating the period through dialogue, costuming, and set design. They do such a good job of illustrating the desperation of the family through the cinematography. And then, like, dude, the whole movie, you're like, everybody's crazy. This
and
is all
the
bullshit.
storyline was actually constructed from old diaries that I found.
So the dialogue's
Interesting.
legit.
Okay.
Like, we talked about this a little bit on the last time we talked about horror, but like kind of like Deadwood, where they went to like great pains to make sure that diction, dialogue, and pacing of sentences was as period specific as possible, which I love shit like that. And so you mix all of that with a fucking black demon.
So
I'm just like, yeah.
So we are talking about the one where the baby disappears and the family blames the oldest daughter kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Just make sure I'm in the right.
I absolutely
place.
that's on in my list of last three movies that have come out in best three movies that have come out in the last decade. The Witch is very much at the top of the list.
So you're with your Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk. I think this is a newer one, Terrifier.
I've seen that one.
It's in my queue. I have not watched it yet.
It's nothing special, very low budget, but damn, it harkens back to those old 80s slashers that I
love
really
that
like.
shit, though. I love when they try and recreate
And it's a
that
unique
80s
unique
cinematic
killer
style.
that, we're all like, oh, clowns again, but this is a different fucking clown. This guy motherfucker means business with a hacksaw.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that one I really enjoyed, and then I'm trying to think of another one that I've, in the last 5 years that it's
Can
tough.
I give you my list and see if you guys agree?
Yeah,
as horror aficionados. Okay, so The Witch is absolutely number one. I fucking love that movie.
Nice.
I recently saw As Above, So Below.
Okay,
Yeah.
that
We talked about that.
Yeah.
When we did, and
Enjoyed
but I
it.
mean, man, just something about that movie. It was so divine comedy. It was so Dante. You know what I mean?
Two of the things I really liked about it, and I know we kind of talked about this before, but one that they shot it, or at least partially, in the actual
In
Paris
the actual
catacombs.
Paris catacombs.
And you can tell it doesn't look fake.
No.
And I love the alchemy storyline, that it's not just hell or demons or something. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this had a different take on it.
Yeah.
And I really thought that
I
was
like the
interesting.
story, but found footage films, they
That's
don't do it for me.
But that's what kept me away from it at first. And
Yeah.
then when I actually watched it, I'm like, that's actually really good. So
Yeah, and it kind of went, in my opinion, it went a little bit of a step further from a found footage film, because the problem with the found footage films is that you get lost, like, you don't feel like you're operating the camera. You're trying to watch a movie that's constantly out of focus, and that's annoying.
You're right. Yeah.
All right, I feel like As Above, So Below, at some point in that movie, it flips to where you feel like you're holding that fucking camera. You are the dude behind that camera, and
No, I could see. I
fuck
definitely
shit
see
is
that.
happening around.
Yeah.
So that's why that one's on my list.
Good one.
And I think the third one, okay. I watched The Apostle the other night.
I have not seen it yet.
I want to see it.
I am conflicted with The Apostle because I feel like it's Christian propaganda, but I feel like it was presented in the most metal way fucking possible. That movie is brutal as shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was fucking great. All right, so I'll try and think of one that you guys have seen.
Oh, that's all right. That's
Okay.
a good list.
That's okay. It's
All right. Okay, well then one honorable mention because I want to see if you guys have seen this movie because it wasn't so much that it was a great story, it's just that I enjoyed the movie.
Sure.
But I just watched Beyond the Black Rainbow.
I've not seen that.
No.
It's by the same guy that did Mandy.
Right.
Oh God.
You didn't like Mandy?
Fuck no, I hated it.
I loved it.
Was it
really-
because of the
I did.
soundtrack? Because I liked it too.
No, it was
the soundtrack drove me fucking nuts.
the
I was
first
like,
the first
I
hour and
loved
10
it.
minutes. Nothing fucking happened, and then all this shit
I will
happened.
give you that.
Nothing. Yeah, and then the
I don't
last
care.
30 minutes, I was somewhat entertained. But then again, at the end, the movie fucking ended. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? There was no explanation. There was just dude whipped his fucking cock out. Nicolas Cage smushed his fucking head. Movie over.
Kinda. But I
Yeah.
still enjoyed the movie.
I loved it. For me, that's one of the best ones
But
I've seen.
that's one of those movies where like the soundtrack kind of fucking killed me because like they just kept nodding. They're like, this movie's metal as fuck, and then they did not have a metal soundtrack, and I was like, what the? Because I just recently on Netflix I watched a movie called The Devil's Candy that I watched.
Yeah.
Oh, great movie. Yeah.
Just out of my fucking ass. I was just like, I'm gonna check this out, and I was just like, man, it's like somebody made this movie for me.
Yeah.
That's a fucking metal movie, man.
So okay, if you guys have not seen The Apostle, then I would actually put that one on my list.
Okay.
That was one of the better horror movies I've seen in a very long time.
What was the other one? The Black Rainbow? Something
Beyond the Black Rainbow was
I'm writing that down so I can.
It was interesting. I think it's on Shudder. It's kind of about like, okay, so there's this program in the 60s that's like specifically about behavior modification, right?
Right.
Okay, that goes horribly wrong. So they scrap the whole program. And then later on in the 80s, they build another program that's based off of that program's theory.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it goes horrifically wrong, but this time you get to see it. But what I loved about that movie so much was the pacing, and then they do the cinematography very much in the way we were talking about, where it's like it's a throwback to the way they used to shoot those kind of movies in the 80s and late 70s. So there's a lot of like film grain. There's a totally synth soundtrack that works.
Mm-hmm.
All of the scenery that they're chewing, and they chew scenery in this movie for real, like right down to the dude's clipboard. But at the same time, you're sitting here watching this movie, and you're like, this is genuinely creepy. Like the main antagonist, you're like, I am fucking creeped out by this guy. He just looks like Stan the Stinky Pinky Man. Like he's just gonna slip one in. It's bad. Okay, we have a couple of minutes left. Do either of you guys have anything to add to your lists in the last decade?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Mandy. I thought it was great.
I enjoyed Mandy as well.
The Cheddar Goblin was the best
Cheddar
part of
Goblin
the
was
fucking-
amazing.
For sure.
And I actually thought that Nicolas Cage did a great job. I mean, I know like he's pretty gonzo in a lot of his
When
stuff.
he wants to, he can act his ass off.
And I thought he did. Like
Yeah.
the scene when he comes back and he's just got the bottle of booze and he just like basically like breaks down.
And he does the whole face full of coke. He's just like,
Yeah.
Oh,
That was great. I loved it. I loved the whole thing. Another one was called Baskin. And
have
Baskin
not
was great.
seen Baskin
Oh wow,
yet.
Baskin,
Yeah.
it's I believe Turkish.
I thought it was Spanish.
I could be wrong, but it was my understanding that it's Turkish. But anyway, it's definitely if you're an American, it's a foreign horror movie. But don't let that deter you. It is a
that doesn't deter.
wonderful.
I feel like foreign horror movies, like it's cool because like that's where you're going to get the freshest perspective.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of amazing foreign horror movies, and so it shouldn't deter you. But some people it does, but it shouldn't. But I loved it. It's got a very surrealistic yet brutal just look and feel to it.
Beyond
And
the Black Rainbow, very much the same.
and it really pulls you in and does a good job. So I highly recommend it. It's Baskin.
So it creeps you out with style.
Yeah,
I like
and,
that.
And brutality.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah,
make
it's
no mistake.
brutal.
It is
Brutal.
super brutal.
Right on.
And then The Void.
Oh, I totally forgot about that
I
movie.
haven't seen The Void.
The Void
I have a
is
Void T-shirt.
The Void is a modern 80s horror movie with a Lovecraftian theme.
Absolutely.
See, okay, I feel like, okay, Beyond the Black Rainbow is a modern 80s horror movie with a Philip K. Dick feel.
Right. And this one has a very Lovecraftian
Dick feel.
theme.
I love
It definitely has a John Carpenter-esque vibe.
Absolutely. It's as soon as you the shit first hits the fan, you're like, damn, man, they took direction straight from The Thing.
Yeah.
And
and also Prince of Darkness.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh no, it's a fantastic movie, and the end is so beautiful.
It is. And one of the things that's really cool about it and Baskin is that they do have some visual effects, but any of the monster or gore effects are all practical.
Yeah.
And you can tell.
I feel like
and
that's
they
really
look wonderful.
important in a horror movie because, like,
Especially these days, yeah.
man, you CGI a horror movie, it's not real and it's not scary anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you have to use practical effects. That's why Tom Savini was such a goddamn genius.
Yeah.
Like, that scene where the guy gets grabbed through the window and they start ripping his guts out, it's like a famous Savini scene. I think it's from Dawn, correct?
That's Day of the Dead.
Is it Day of the Dead?
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah.
But you know which one I'm talking about, where they all reach in and they reach into the guy's guts,
Pull him apart.
and
Very
shit.
end, yeah.
Like,
Roads.
that is so, if you think about, like, this is pre-CGI, like, those guys did such a fucking good job on that scene because it looks so real. It looks so visceral. Like, those people are handling whatever the fuck they're using for organs and blood. Like, they're grabbing that shit and squirting it all over their face. It's not CGI.
No.
Because I recently I had somebody come up and tell me that Mother's like the scariest movie they've ever fucking seen.
I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen.
I watched it, and you know what? Like, it's an interesting concept. Darren Aronofsky is not doing fucking horror. What Darren Aronofsky is doing is jerking off into a camera and being like, make that a movie.
Okay.
And that's what he always does, and that's fine because he makes some good flicks. But Mother was very much about, like, man's relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
And how, but it wasn't even like an interesting take. It was just like Darren Aronofsky was like, I'm going to make a movie about being a superior atheist. And like, that's a douche move.
Right.
Right.
Like, you're not showing me anything new. And then, like, there's a couple of really, like, tense, creepy scenes in that movie, but they're completely ruined by CGI.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like, there's a couple of opportunities for, like, really visceral practical effect that they don't use.
Well, you know, that was one of the things that made me laugh about, like, some of the horror remakes is, like, watching the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. It's hilarious because they had 100 times the budget and it looks worse than what
does
was
look
previous.
worse.
I've never seen it because I was told that I would break my fucking TV.
Yeah.
I will say this. It is not a very good movie. I also will say this. Jackie Earle Haley got a raw deal because his actual performance as Freddy Krueger was great.
It was good.
But
He's
the
great.
movie's not good.
Right. And that's a good point to bring up because it's true. He does a great job, but everything around him sucks.
Yeah. No, it truly, like, that's the most appropriate response. Or
It was Michael Bay that did it, right?
Was it really? That pisses me off more.
I believe it was.
God
Michael Bay.
damn it, Michael Bay. You
Right.
son of a bitch. You ruined Transformers.
Right? Fucker.
Yeah, he's a dick.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. So as we wrap this up, Matt, what do you have on the horizon? What's coming up for you, brother? You're kind of busy.
I'm going to get drunk at Wits a lot.
Nice.
Hang out there. And
But margarita season's almost
margarita season's almost over, so find out what my new alcoholic venture is coming up.
All right.
I'm going to play with a lot of rabbits. I got a ton of rabbits.
You do have a ton of rabbits.
Only 7?
I'm not gonna lie, dude. Okay,
Only 7.
For those of you that don't know, Matt Adkins' Instagram account, because I'm relatively new to Instagram, so I'm hypersensitive to it. It's just rabbits and booze, like the whole fucking time.
Fucking life, man.
The rabbits have their own Instagram. Give me the hashtag on this shit.
What is that?
Rabbits.
My deviant rabbits.
I'm absolutely going to follow your rabbits.
But other than that, I'm just going to be jamming. Like I said, I've got a new project coming
That's
up.
confidential, and you won't tell us about it.
Yeah, I haven't been given clearance to. But I'll just say this: it's a science fiction death metal musical opera.
Oh, dude.
It's going to be cool.
I majored in musical theater.
We're going to have laser beams and fucking monster fights on the stage. It is going to be fucking fantastic.
So is it safe to say that when this project comes to light, you'll come back on and promote it again?
Oh, absolutely. We'll do it. I'll do it in character.
So yeah. Hey, for everybody that just is listening at home, Stanton just walked in. Say hi, Stanton.
Howdy.
He's the guy with the dead
Stanton.
dog I talked about earlier.
Stanton, we're sorry.
Yeah, condolences, man.
Yeah, that's brutal.
We love
man.
him, though. He's great people. Anyway, we are wrapping this thing up. Matt, where can they find you online?
Besides Deviant Rabbit.
Besides Deviant Rabbits. I'm hashtagging this shit right now.
Just add me as a friend on Facebook. If you look cool, I'll add you. If not, you're gonna be in my junk pile. No, I'm not. But it's facebook.com/evil little fucker.
There you go.
Yeah, it is.
Wits End. You could always email the Wits End thing. I won't read it, and I don't care.
I really like the way you do business. You're like, this is either going to work or it's not. Fuck it.
Yeah, I don't care. I get to pick and choose. It's my fucking bar. God damn it.
There you go.
And you can find me at Silver Tongue Devil shows most times.
That's right.
Nice.
December 21st.
December 21st.
We're going to be there.
That's right.
I will also be there. That'll
Nice.
be fun.
That'll be a good show.
So we would like to thank Matt Adkins from Wits End, the shining beacon in the desert for the local metal scene.
Thank you so much for coming out, brother.
Thanks for having me, man. Anytime you guys want me to come back, I'll fucking...
we'll definitely...
We'll argue about zombies.
We'll definitely have you back.
We need to have an episode where you and I just sit back. Craig, you and me just sit back. We have a couple of beers, and we let Paul Bones and Matt Atkins just go at it.
Duke it out.
Fucking argue.
Just get
totally
hammered.
Down for that. That's going to be great.
Throw in some inflammatory comments and just let them go at it like a couple of pit bulls.
Hot take.
All right.
H2O is the best Halloween movie. Discuss.
All right.
You can go fuck yourself right there.
So, Matt, real briefly, describe the last song that we're going to hear from you, like what the band is and stuff like that.
This was a song that Color of Ohm did. It's about a 9 to 10 minute song. I can't remember because it's been a few years.
Nice.
It's called The Ascent. It was The Ascent. The Ascent. We usually opened with it because it was so damn long we couldn't put it at the end of the set.
Is it about ints with asses?
You are clearly not familiar with Diesel Beast. We'll play a 10-minute song first, motherfuckers.
Well, we try not to piss off the sound guys because,
We are the sound guys.
we are the sound guys, motherfucker. Push your fader somewhere else.
Right.
It was the... I don't even remember if it was last track on the album or in the middle, but it was always my favorite to play. So cool.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Warlord Radio Podcast. We would like to thank Matt Adkins for coming out and rocking. We would like to encourage you when you're in the DFW area to look up Wits End and do whatever the fuck they're doing that night, be it karaoke or tequila ass blasters. I don't know what they do up there. But anyway, thank you very much for coming out. This has been Warlord Radio, and this is The Ascent.
Bye.